This is Kennawayne at Style Undefined, and I just clocked in the 100 Hours Club.
What up, though? Welcome to 100 Hours Club. This is actually the first episode of that particular podcast, powered by Landon on Mars. And with 100 Hours Club, it's recognizing people that I feel hustle. And we'll get back to that intro later. But on this episode, I've known this gentleman for a pretty good while. I've seen him grow in the work that we do. And one thing that I get from him is that whenever he puts his mind to something, he can conquer it, and he does it his way. And I'm talking about his videos. When you see his videos, like just right now, he turned on his computer and I was like, is that from one of your pictures? Because that's how good I feel his stuff is. And he's told me how he's got into it. And today I have Mr. Kenneth Curtis with me.
I appreciate it, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I really appreciate you taking your time for letting me come out here, letting me come into your domain, and letting me interview you. You know.
Oh yeah, man.
It's been a long time. You know, we've been kind of talking about it for a minute. You get busy, I get busy. That's just life, you know what I mean?
Yeah, man, I get it, man.
That's just life. But like I was saying, man, like for me, I want to know where it all started for you. Like
where it started, man. I mean, really, I've always been type that's like passionate about everything. So, ironically, back in like 5th grade, I'm gonna take it all the way back there.
Hey, that's what I want right there.
I was really good at art. I'm bad at art now, but I was really good at art. I loved it. I enjoyed it, and people pushed me to do art. Mm-hmm. I hated it when people made me do something because that passion wasn't there.
Not feeling that.
So low key. Fast forward like 7th, 8th grade. You know, it was a teacher, and I can't remember his name, but he was like, man, let's try some poetry. I ain't doing no poetry. You know, I'm from the east side of San Antonio, right? That ain't something we just gonna do.
Yeah.
But I did it, you know what I'm saying? And he was like, man, you're really good at it. But I didn't tell anybody. And I was like, man, I want to be better at it. Mm-hmm. And I kept doing it. And finally, some people in high school were like, man, you're really good at this. Mm. And so when I went to college, I really delved into the poetry.
That's when you started getting into the...
Huge in music. As you can see back here. Yeah. And we talk about it all the time. I know you love Jay-Z. Yeah. Everybody know I'm a big Nas guy.
It's the rock.
You know what I'm saying? But... Stillmatic was my first actual CD, you know what I'm saying? Not cassettes, all that, CD.
Oh, yeah.
And the song Reverse. It got me thinking, like, when he rapped that whole thing in reverse, I want to do a poem in reverse. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't there yet. But, like, I want to get there. Mm-hmm. So I kept striving. And I remember in college, man, this one kid, he said, I'm better at poetry than you. And you know me, man, I'm competitive. Yeah. Football, everything.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so I wrote a diss poem, right? You know what I'm saying? And I still have that poem. It was called Undesirable Idol. Mm-hmm. And basically I flipped it and said, I'm your idol. Like, because all you keep doing is worried about me and stuff. Fast forward, poetry, you know, I was killing it. Mm-hmm. And it was called Kenneth Curtis Poetry. So I changed it to Style Undefined. And the big reason for Style Undefined is 11th grade, there was a teacher who said, oh, you can't do poetry without doing it this way. And I'm like, nah, I want to be different. I want to be better. And a goal that I've always had, and I told myself that a lot of people don't know, my goal is to be better than myself.
Yeah.
Right? And I know that sounds crazy, but if I strive to be better than you, and I do that, then where I go from there? You know what I'm saying?
No, I got you.
For me, I want to be the best. And I want to be better than me, right? I want to keep pushing myself.
Yeah.
And so Style Undefined poetry was going good. And then I kind of delved into the film, and I started traveling, and I really got into it, and I really got good. And one of our friends, Tay Tizzle, I asked him if I could shoot.
What up, Tay?
Shout out Tay. You know what I'm saying? I asked him if I do a music video. And you know what? He was like, yeah, let's do it.
I've seen that.
And I remember he was looking at me crazy. But then I got in the little studio. It's grown since then. And we put it together. And it looked good. And I ain't looked back since, you know what I'm saying? So Style Undefined just kind of grew from believing in myself and being different. And that's what kind of Style Undefined means. There's no definition of everybody's style. You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody is wrong. You know, whether you're listening to Jay-Z or Nas, or you're listening to Tyler, the Creator, like, they're all different. They're all good. It's artistic.
It's all a different art, like you say. They bring it to you in their way. You know what I mean? And that's a good thing, because, like you said, like, me, I always look at it like I'm my own competition. You know what I mean? And the way I look at it is the way it's different how you look at it. You know what I mean? But like you said, it all comes down to just being true to yourself. You know what I mean? And like I said, man, especially nowadays, people are not really true to themselves. You know what I mean?
Nah, man. Like, a lot of people are trying to be like somebody else. So, now, don't get me wrong. Like I said, back in the day, I implemented, I want to be like Nas and do this, because that was very unique. But I didn't do it. I didn't want to be like a rapper. I wanted to do it in poetry. But that was just a part of me. So there's always like, you're gonna have people you want to look up to, inspiration.
That's hip hop. That's just hip hop. Like,
yeah,
hip hop inspires you to do more. You know what I mean? It breaks those barriers. You know, like,
yeah,
they want us to do this, but we're gonna do this. You know what I mean? And then, like they say, like, you being from the east side, no one expects that.
Yeah. Like,
we come from those neighborhoods. I come from the west side of San Antonio. So the only thing different is just not really much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just like, I guess the color of our skin, I guess. But like, but even at that, it's not really much, because it's still man. Like, it's still. Yeah. I could recognize where you come from. You could recognize where I come from, and that's what I love about San Antonio, man. Like, like San Antonio, like, it ate me and spat me out. You know what I mean? It did its work with me, but I've always respected people from San Antonio. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those things. You know, anybody from the city, it's always that respect. Then, like, I did watch Alaska.
Yeah, Dear Alaska.
Dear Alaska did. So you've been back to Alaska 3 times, and I know I'm kind of jumping. So you know what I mean. I might be jumping here, I might be jumping there, but you've been to Alaska 3 times.
3 times, yeah. So the first time I went, as you know, it was a couple reasons happened. I went and I ended up being alone, and it was a place I didn't want to go. I thought I would hate. Anybody knows me, like, I like it warm. This is a cold place. Yeah. And I was like, man, I don't want to go. End up going, boom. And I'm sitting there like, I love this place, man. Like, I hit it, and I'm driving down, and I remember going down out of Anchorage, hit the Seward Highway, and I just fell in love. Like, there's no other feeling toward it. So that's when I started filming. So I dropped my first documentary, Alone in Alaska.
I don't think is that one on YouTube?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. They're all on YouTube. But yeah, that was Alone in Alaska. That was kind of my first documentary. And
damn, now I feel stupid. Like, real shit, I was looking it up today. Like, all week I've been looking and preparing for the
man.
Day, you know
no,
what I mean?
I mean, that one I didn't really. A lot of people didn't know, because I was just getting into like filming, and to be honest, I wasn't confident in what I was putting out, even though I look back and it was actually really good. But like, again, that was me just getting into it, and so I wanted to go back. So 1 year later, like literally 1 year later, I went back, because the first time I went with a negative mindset. The second time is like, I love this place. I'm getting back. I want to do all these goals. And I did a lot of goals. And one of the goals was climbing a mountain, you know, because I had a stroke a few years ago, and I did that at the end. Another one, I got to go with my fiance.
Oh, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that.
Appreciate it.
Sorry
Appreciate
about
it.
that. Congratulations,
Yeah,
brother.
appreciate it.
Congratulations.
Yeah, she was my girlfriend at the time, but
Uh-huh.
we went to and we really enjoyed it.
Mm.
I was there a little bit longer than she was, and as a lot of people know, Dear Alaska, it was when I got back on the 13th, my mom's birthday, and then 10 days later, my pops passed away.
Okay.
And so the next trip was really for him. It was me and him, but it ended up being, how do I get these two trips that are completely opposite, right? Because I'm having fun the first one, not thinking anything, and the last convo I had with my dad's like, you know what, Pops, you should come. He's like, I'm gonna go to the next one. I mean, he was telling everybody. If you knew my Pops, he was telling everybody. But and then the next trip is, really sad. I'm going alone, and my Pops ain't there. Yeah. And the reason I'm going is for him. Yeah. It was a very emotional trip. And it was, how do I take happy with somebody else and transfer that into it? And man, it took 3 months. I now understand why studios have sound people, all this. Yeah. But I will say it turned out to be one of the best things that I ever produced. Everybody, men, women, everybody said they were crying. It was actually pretty rare to see me cry. If anybody knows me, like, I'm probably the least emotional person. Not in a bad way, just calm, chill, you know what I'm saying? But that's how it came about. But I remember months, like, how am I going to put these two together? And it came together. It's about an hour and a half. So that's the one you've seen. But now you got to go check out Alone in Alaska.
Yeah, I need to go check that one out. And shit, like, Dear Alaska, that's beautiful, man. Like, saying that, it got me to look like I say, I see you every day, but I see it from a perspective of, like, we do talk, but it's like maybe hip hop, real quick stuff. You know what I mean? And like I say, I do know you're from San Antonio and stuff like that, but seeing stuff like that, you get to know the deeper person. You know what I mean? The things that really mean something to you, and it's like, it's beautiful to have that. It's beautiful to have a place you could go and just kind of have that peace, because, like, I always sit back and think about it, like, I feel like so selfish, and I took advantage of being young. Yeah. Because when I was young, when I was doing, like, stupid stuff, like just acting stupid, that was the most peace I had ever had. Because now everything is just so loud. Yeah. Like, it's hard. Yeah, like, it's just like the older you get, the more, like, of course, responsibility.
Chaotic.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's never peaceful. Even when you're trying to be peaceful, yeah, bro. It's like it's like
always something going on.
Yeah, like, it's peaceful out here, but inside, it's loud, and it's even louder when it's quieter. You know what I mean? Like, so, yeah, bro, I think about that, and, like, seeing that, it's like, man, that's beautiful. Like, that, it's awesome to have that, and, like, seeing, like, knowing that you saw icebergs, knowing that you were on that path you were on, is like, man, like, the closest thing that I've seen to that is Denver. Yeah. And, like, I guess in Colorado, but even at that, it was always just a pass through. So I never really got a chance to, like, embrace it, and that feeling of embracing it. And that was one thing that I noticed in that video. Like, you really embrace that feeling, and, like, that was awesome, man. That's why, like, when I see stuff like that, I know it takes me time. I'm always busy with stuff, like you know that. I always support what you do. Like, I always like whether if I'm watching it the first 5-10 seconds or watching the whole thing, I'm always making sure I give that like. You know what I mean? Because to me, I support the people that I know. Like, I'm gonna support you versus supporting somebody else, and that's because, like, I know you and I want you to go further. Like with my barber, this is her merch right here. Yeah. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm supporting the little people. You know what I mean? Because, like, I see big potential in it, and, like, these are conversations we really don't have. You know what I mean? Like, like I said, knowing you for a while, and, like, to me, you're at my wedding, so that means something. You know what I mean? Like, there was people that were there that I didn't even really care for to have there. You know what I mean? But like I said, like, and then, like I said, knowing you're from San Antonio, man, that's just the icing on the cake right there.
Yeah, man.
But I'm like, so as far as getting back to, like, just the video stuff, When did you really sit back and say? Because I know you went through a couple of drones too, right? Before like
I went through just one. It killed itself.
like when did you say, you know what? Let me master this. Let me.
Really, I went head in, even from that first video, right? So a lot of people look at that first video. You've seen the first video, right? And a lot of people are like, this looks professional. I didn't go to class. I literally sit here, teach myself, make a mistake. How does this work? And I just started with my cell phone. Like, this is all I had. And people were like, oh, you're crazy. No, I'm going to use my cell phone. And I had a gimbal and all that. And eventually the drone came. As you can see back here, I got that camera. And he kind of seen I have tons of equipment. But I'm still learning some of that, right? So when that first video came out, I was like, and I saw the product, right? And I saw the love, and I seen people saying like, oh, I want you to shoot my video. That's when not only I was like, okay, I'm here, but if I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna be here. You know what I'm saying? I want to be up top. And I don't know what video really did it. I can't say there was one video, but I remember just shout out to my cousin, Darrenette. She's really good, and we kind of push each other. And she's better at like lighting. She's better at like audio. And we both have like different things. She has a lipstick line, and she does all that, and she has a Muffin Man contest that I've helped with in San Antonio.
A Muffin Man?
Yeah, so her brand is Love Muffin. So
okay. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, it's like a a beauty pageant for guys, right?
Oh, okay.
Right, and then at the end, she has them all going to like a calendar at the end. I'm
thinking it's like a sweet brand. It's like
Muffin.
Like,
man, no. So I helped her. I helped her the first time, man. But no, like I said, shout out to her. Love Muffin.
Hell yeah.
And so that kind of built up, and then people were seeing the Alaska videos, and really, I know when I want to do something. And so I was doing really good nature videos. And if anybody's ever watched TikTok, Instagram, the nature videos have the soft, peaceful, and I can do that too. Yeah. But I said, and it kind of goes back to poetry. So shout out to my boy Johnny. If you ask him, people used to be like, what do you write poetry to? And I go, rap music, trap music. Like, I'm listening to Gucci Mane writing love poems. Fast forward, I'm looking at nature. I'm sitting there in Alaska, and like you said, it's peaceful. But I'm also listening to rap music. And I said, how can I put rap music and nature together? Like, nobody's doing that.
Nah. Never.
And I don't know what was the first one, but I did it. And then the one that I really knew I did it is when I put some chopped and screwed. You know what I'm saying? I took it back to Texas, and everybody's like, how did you think of that? I was like, that's how I wanted to do it. And so that's when I knew that if I could do something crazy like that, I'm unstoppable. And that's just not saying like I may not be the best, but I feel like I'm the best.
But that's what you got to do. You got to toot your own horn, man. Because like I said, nobody wants to do that. And then people look at like, oh, he's being cocky. But that's believing in yourself, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I think here's my thing with cocky and confident, right? Cocky is I'm better than you. I'm better than you in everything as a person, and I'm not going to help you. Confident is I believe in myself. You need some help. Let me bring you up too. But I'm still trying to be better than you. Confident competition, right? And like I said earlier, I'm trying to be better than myself. You got to humble yourself, because it's saying, because I'm at the top doesn't mean I can get better. You know what I'm saying? Like, just because Kobe won a championship don't mean he ain't going back to the gym to try to win another one.
Not for you.
Then he won 2. You think you just stop?
It's
You
still
keep going.
It's still going.
And so you can, and obviously confidence does come off as cocky, but do you know the person? Did you talk to the person? Do you see where they came from?
Nah,
You know
I feel you.
Because what I did all this and I'm here, and you're gonna have haters.
But that means that just means you're doing something right.
If I'm on their mind, that's great.
Yeah, it's like they're taking their day to think about me while I'm thinking about myself and my plans and my future and going forward. You know what I mean? And yeah, like I've always been humbled. Like I never been the type of person to like. Yeah, I could rap. Yeah, like I do music. There's a song that I'm working on. There's like, in reality, I probably have like an album written already. I just need to like drop it, do it. But I never came into this game like, oh, I'm better than this. I've always been the person like, man, let me help people. But shit, for me, it's always been like, I've always got the shit in the stick of it. You know what I mean? Because I get left behind. But to me, I look at it like, I'm just doing my thing. If I could help somebody out to perfect what they're doing and their path, then, you know, I'm doing my job. You know what I mean? But I've never been that cocky person like, oh, I'm this, I'm that. Like I just never been that. Like, you know what I mean? I've always just been a very humble person. But then that takes it back to where I've came from. Because I've came from rough. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my past is a little rough. So it's like, I'm just trying to be better than what I was. You know what I mean? Like, better than who I was, better than where I came from. Then the shit. Then when you have like, I just have my daughter, like she'll be 2. It's like, that puts a different perspective in your head. You know what I mean? On what you're really doing this for. Like,
exactly.
Yeah, man, this shit's rough. So, as far as how does it feel being engaged? Like I said, I know I'm kind of going everywhere.
It feels great. She's been there every step of the way. Like I said, when I went the second time, so the first one was alone in Alaska, and the one thing that I really would wish that I could share that experience with somebody, and she got to go with me, and there was a lot of things that I did so that she could experience it, and she loved it. Like literally, once we got engaged, and she was like, "Can we take engagement pictures in Alaska?" Because she kind of understood that place that I went to, like how magical it is, like how peaceful, like connection with God is huge there. And you know, she was there, you know, when my dad passed away, and ironically, that year, she got to spend a lot more time than my dad. Like Father's Day, she was supposed to go with her dad, and something happened, so she spent it with my dad. His birthday, she was there. And remember I said the last trip that I went with her, she couldn't stay the entire time because of work. My dad dropped her off at the airport, and he picked her up, and he was actually the last one, but I hadn't got to interact with him when I got back. I talked to him, but she was the last one. And then over this year, she just pushed me to be a better man, a better person. And I mean, it's just magical. I dropped the video, and people are like, "Oh," and I'm always filming her. You know what I'm saying? She's always on my mind, and I'm always trying to make her better. I know I'm hard headed. I'm a hard man to love. I'm always working. I know that, but she puts up with me, and if I need her, she's there. So it feels great. I'm just taking this time until we figure out, you know, the next steps.
That's good. That's awesome, brother.
Yes, sir.
Like, for me, it took a very long time to be where I'm at, and that's why, like, I remember a homie told me, he's like, "Man, when I see y'all, it looks very genuine," and that's what I look at. You know what I mean? Like, I try to be the person, like, when I was single for so long, I was able to observe to like what the guy did to get the girl mad. So it's like, okay, let me not.
Don't do that.
Yeah, let me not do that. Like, if it's like, don't go to the bar. You know what I mean? If that's going to have conflict at home, don't go spend time with your friends. You know what I mean? Just understanding and knowing that it's a relationship, you know? Like, when two people come together, it's a relationship and it's beautiful. You know what I mean? Like you said, when you could lean on somebody, like, yeah, man, like, I forgot, like, man, there was a song where it said, like, nowadays, like, it's just better to just be with one, you know what I mean? Because you never know what's going on out there, you know what I mean? So, like, as far as, where do you see yourself going with the film? Where do you, like, how far do you want to take that?
Man, I know it's going to sound weird. I don't really have goals, right? I just have work ethic. And the reason I say that is a lot of people like, what, you don't have goals? Like, I want to be somewhere. Like, if I want to do something with film, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to do it right then and there, and I'm just going to strive. The one thing that I don't like to do is say, oh, in 5 years, I'm going to be here. Because if I get there in 5 years, right, great. If I get there in 6, I feel like I failed. And I didn't really fail. I got there.
Figuring that.
But if I got there, like I could have got there in 3, why'd I set it for 5? So I just do the best I can. But the one thing I do want to do is expand. I want to be better. Is a quote that I really feel. I want to be twice as good as yesterday, but only half as good as tomorrow. Like, I want to keep working, right?
Yeah.
And there's days, I ain't gonna lie, man, I work so hard. You know, you probably work harder than me. But my dad, the one thing, you ask anybody, he was the hardest working man in the world. And so coming from that, having that, is I'm gonna work hard, right? I'm gonna support my family. I'm just gonna do everything to be better. And all I'm gonna do is hope that if I put 100% of the work, that I'm going to grow. And I will say in the last 2 years, I've grown a lot. You know what I'm saying? I got people in Alaska, you know, doing things. I've gone to, I mean, Alaska's just the biggest one. It's my favorite. I've been there the most times. But, you know, I plan on going to like Oregon, back to Colorado. I've been there.
Oh, yeah.
I've been to Cancun, Mexico, things like that.
Yeah, it's nice
and,
out there.
Just, you know, even around Texas, I do cars. Everybody knows I love cars.
Yeah.
I've done cars and expanding that, and hopefully kind of start a podcast. But I really do want to keep it kind of simple right now, and just kind of see, you know, where it takes me. But I really do hope to, you know, blow up. Who doesn't, you know?
No, I feel you in that. I feel you in that. That's the goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, we do what we love to show the world, but hopefully, like, with that in the back, with that intent of like, man, maybe this one will pop. You know what I mean? Maybe this one will put me to that.
Yeah.
Put me to that pedestal. You know what I mean? Put
And
me
I try to be consistent because I don't want one video. You always seem like the people like they have one video and then they're like, okay, I'm here. Like deer in headlights, I don't know what to do. Nah. I want to be there. I'll be like, okay, I already been here. I've been here. You're just recognizing where I've been.
That's right. That's right. And you see, that's right. Like, I want to tell you, like, that's where you inspired me at, is the consistency. I remember you saying you were with a couple of buddies back in the day with the podcast.
Yes.
And I remember the one thing that we would talk about is the consistency. Like,
Yes.
hey, if we're dropping every Tuesday, and we're dropping every Tuesday for a month, and now we don't drop one Tuesday, now that's throwing everybody off because now they're looking for us, we're not there. So that always sticks with me, and that's one thing that I definitely need to get better with. Like, I understand I'm a husband, I'm a father, but this is, and that's what I was telling my wife. I said, yo, I'm gonna go do an interview with Mr. Curtis, and she's like, well, who? Like, are you gonna be like, who? What are you gonna talk about? She always kind of like picks my brain, and it's like, I'm not going to come out here like, this is your time, this is my time. Like, this is something that I love to do. And this is something that, like I said, like, I'm going to put my all into this, you know? Like, it's not, I'm not getting paid for it now, but I just got to keep working, you know what I mean? The work never stops, you know what I mean? And that's now, I'm not doing it for the paycheck. I'm doing it because it's something I love, you know what I mean?
It's a passion,
like,
it's a hobby.
It's a passion. It's something, like I said, like, seeing you and when you talk about stuff, like, that inspires me because it's like, taking, like you said, take a little bit from what somebody's doing and take that advice, you know, versus being cocky about it and being confident, like, hey, let me help you out as well.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And like I said, that, like, to me, that's what it's about. Like, I thought my brother called me today and he's like, hey, man, what do I got to do to make a podcast? And I was kind of like, okay, you want to get some good mics, this and that, kind of breaking it down for him. And I even told him, I said, it might sound like I'm saying a lot, but it's real simple. Like, it's not hard to do this. It's just real simple. You just got to either get because he has an Android. I always clown him for that. Like, I always clown him for having an Android.
I got an Android too.
I like he needs to come to the iPhone family already. He needs to stop that. But that's why I told him, like, I've never done it off of Android.
Yeah,
you know
it's
what
the
I mean?
same. It's pretty much the
but
same.
Like I said, me is just giving people that encouragement. You know what I mean? Telling people they can do it. You know.
I mean, Yeah, kind of what you're saying. You're right there. The one thing that you kind of said is you're happy is like I enjoy doing this, right? And some things that my fiance would always say is when you're doing this, you're at peace. You're enjoying it. It's not really work. Like I'll be telling her like, hey, tonight I'm gonna go work on a video that I'll post, and she'll be like, okay, you gonna be in your office? I'm like, yeah. But you know, when we're in Alaska and she sees like how much I enjoy this, it's work, and she knows what I'm building too. But it's not really work, man. And like you said, I was on that podcast. Shout out to 210's Hip Hop. It was a great podcast, and you know, it really is hard, like you said, to stay consistent. I'm at work ethic, but it was three of us. It was three of us. And my boy Zoe, he came and was like, you know what, I need somebody like you. And we kind of put it together, and three different people, you know what I'm saying? We all went to Roosevelt together, you know what I'm saying? And it worked out, and we love hip hop, and we kind of talked. Whether we agreed or not, I think it was a successful. Fortunately, like I said, I did have the stroke kind of there, which kind of faded the podcast.
So was you the glue to that?
No, I won't say I'm the glue necessarily. I think it needed all three of us. I really think it needed all three of us. Yeah. So Zoe was kind of the medium, right? Me and my boy Henny, Kendrick was the wild one, right? He's always been the wild one, but funny, like the comedic wild one. I would say some wild stuff, but I'm gonna stand on business. I'm gonna stand 10 toes. You know what I'm saying? And Zoe was trying to like mediate all that, and so I don't think I was the glue necessarily, but that also taught me a lot about video editing and mics and stuff like that. Because when we started, we ain't had the best mics. We were trying, you know what I'm saying, just to get through. And I think that was pretty around COVID too. So we had to do it all separate. So I wasn't the glue or anything. I think it needed all three of us. And, you know, I do miss it some days, but I think with my health, you know, they stopped it. They really did kind of stop it because they knew I would probably keep going. And I was like, no, we ain't stopping. I don't care. Like, they're like, bro, you need to stop. So I do respect them for that. And I think they tried to go, but I just don't think without all three of us, you know what I'm saying?
It's like Rory, Maul, and Joe Budden.
Yeah.
And then Joe Budden said, fuck these dudes.
Nah, man, I don't really think it's like that. I just think, like, sometimes you have, and we were rolling, we were picking up some traction, and talking to artists around, like, the nation, and it's just one of those things, like, my health kind of interfered in that. And, you know, I always wondered what if, but I still talk to them boys, you know, an album drop, hey, what do you think? You know what I'm saying? So I hit them up. And maybe, you know, when, you know, I'm have kind of a podcast working as long as I can kind of stay consistent, you know, I might invite them boys over, you know what I'm saying? But it's still love. I see them all the time. They're my boys, you know what I'm saying? So there was nobody that was glue. But yeah, I was definitely the one. You'll ask them, like, bro, we got to do it this day. We got to do it this day.
Yeah, and that, like I said, that's what always rings in my head, because I'm like, and my thing is like I try to record either like Thursday so I could edit Friday and have everything ready to go for Sunday, because I like Sundays. So that's, like I said, I try to stay consistent with that. So as far as when it comes to hip hop, let's get into some hip hop.
Okay, you know I'm always down
like
for
real
it.
quick. This is something I've been thinking.
Okay,
and it's like just two names, one choice.
Okay.
So
So we playing games.
Yeah, little something like that.
Okay.
Little something like that. I kind of know this one, but I still gotta throw it out there. Jay-Z, Nas.
Who is Nas?
Biggie, Pac.
Pac.
Lil Wayne, Future.
Lil Wayne. I mean, that would probably be pretty easy, as long as it ain't, you know, lately.
XXXTentacion, Nipsey.
Triple X, man.
Triple X?
Yes.
What?
So I'm gonna be real. Like a lot of people, when Nipsey passed away, like, oh, like I've always been. He's a legend.
I remember
and
you
I
said you were the one that texted me right away when that happened.
But no, like for me, like don't get me wrong. I think I wasn't really a huge Nipsey fan until that last album. I love that album. I really did, which kind of sucked because I don't know where he would have went. But other than the one song with Drake, I didn't really listen to him.
Yeah, I was a Nipsey fan.
I just was being real, and people were like, "What?" I was like, I don't live on the West Coast, like you know what I'm saying." And people were like, "Wow," and just at that time in my life, like I connected more with Triple X. You know what I'm saying? So shout out, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the people that it's like, "Oh my God," I'm like, bro, I wasn't sad.
I feel you on that. Like with Nipsey, I felt like I got to the party and the party already started. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like the hype was already going. I got there when it was already hype.
Yeah.
And like I didn't really know him like that. Like I heard Victory Lap, but it didn't really put me in that position to say like. And I remember, I think it was Blue Collar Money or something like that.
Yeah.
There was one. I remember Adam told me about that album, but I never really gravitated towards him like that. But real quick. We just recently lost a legend. I don't know if you knew. I don't know if you heard about that. But
Irv Gotti.
Yeah, R.I.P. Irv Gotti. I was a fan of Ja Rule. I was a fan of that movement. And if you were a fan of DMX, if you were a fan of Jay-Z, you were a fan of Irv Gotti because he was behind a lot of that. And R.I.P. to that man. Like 50 still trolling that fool. 50 cold, man. Like
50.
Like 50's on another level. Do you see what's going on with Meech and him right now? With Lil Meech and
Yeah,
him?
man. I don't know. That's kind of weird, man. Like,
how you feel about that? How like?
So you know me. I'm really like, I love music. I kind of stay out of like the chaotic section of it. I don't know, man. Like, I don't really know what's happening behind the scenes. Meech can do what he want. I mean, that'd be Meech. Right. It was kind of weird, in my opinion, for Lil Meech to kind of go against his pops. You know what I'm saying?
With that
because
text
he
message?
works. Yeah. But then, in my opinion, I think it was a little fraud for 50 to post that message. You know what I'm saying?
That was fraud. But
that's who 50 is. He's just
50's petty like that. If he recorded Young Buck, he's gonna throw anybody under the bus.
But at the same time, like if I know like he's probably going to do that.
You don't give him fuel to use against you.
Yeah, like you don't text.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't even call these days.
And it sounded like well, why are you doing this type of text? You know what I mean? It didn't sound like he was saying it with his chest. You know what I mean? It was one of those. But I kind of like there was people too like they were saying like Meech is the father that was in jail all the time. It's 50's the stepdad that's trying to put you in line and doing that. So in a sense, you know what I mean? At the end of the day, I guess what they did was legendary, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, they were just kind of drug dealers, you know what I mean? Like they just did it bigger than others, I guess.
Yeah.
And that's not even really hip hop, you know what I mean? It's around hip hop, but that's why I say, bro, like hip hop is like it's everywhere. Like even like I said with the poems, with the stuff that we do, like you had said, like I want to put South music with Alaska stuff, you know what I mean? That's hip hop, you know what I mean? And like when it comes to like my podcast, it's the essence of hip hop, you know what I mean? Shout out to Dream Champs, shout out to like all the ones that showed me, shout out to Cameron, like all these artists I looked up to, you know what I mean? These like when they were doing their thing, and now it's like
it's crazy, yeah.
Like
they're the old heads now.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not like they're the old heads and they're making those old head moves by making money moves. You know what I mean? They're showing you like, hey man, you could do this, and like I said, man, this hip hop thing is just it's a lot. It's bigger than what we thought it was gonna be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it, man. And like you said, like that's your inspiration, and you know, and I don't blame you. Like we always kind of talk. You're like, hey, did you watch this podcast? And I'm like, nah, not really. But I think you kind of understood when I'd be like, well, I don't really watch that because I'm watching this. And you're like, oh, yeah, that would make sense why you're watching this because you're inspired. You're working on this. And I'm like, did you see that? And you're like, nah, I ain't see that. But a lot of times, and I'll tell you about albums that have dropped, and you're like, no, because I was watching the podcast. So, it's not, I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. You're just kind of prioritizing. Again, we have other things going on in the world, but you have to prioritize. Do I look for all this music where I'm listening to music to do videos to, and things like that? And, when we talk about music all the time, he's always, anybody that knows me, I'm standing on business. If I say I don't like something or I don't like somebody, I will tell you. And he's like, not even this one song? I'm like, nah, man, like, I don't. But at the same time, I also do tell him, like, hey, I can recognize somebody being good and not being a fan of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, but when I first met him, he was like, nah. I'm like, nah, I don't like him for nothing. He's like, nah, one song. I'm like, nah, man, he ain't getting no plays.
Oh, man.
And I think the biggest one that like hurt his feelings was Griselda. And
I was like, come on, bro. That's Griselda right there. Shout out Westside. Shout out Benny. Shout out Conway. I know y'all ain't going to see this, but shout out Griselda. You did.
And I told him, man, like, I was like, they're very talented. It just don't resonate with me.
Yeah.
And then I can't think of them. They're from the same place. Bush Zombies.
Which one?
The rap Zombies. Bush. Bro, I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, I'm going blank too.
You're gonna have to make me. I'm gonna pull up Spotify. But they're from the same exact city.
From Buffalo?
Yeah.
Not 38 Special.
Flatbush Zombies. I couldn't.
That Flatbush Zombies?
Flatbush, and I love Flatbush Zombies. You know what I'm saying? And they're from the same city. It's just very, occasionally Benny the Butcher. That's probably the only one that I'll venture to.
But like I told you, like with and this is one thing, like with Westside Gunn, if someone said I want art and music, that would be Westside Gunn. Because he's very creative, and it's like the beat selection, the sample selection, like, yo, dog, like, yes, someone's singing about crack, like, it's, and I know it might sound wrong, but it's just one of those things, like, the way they put the music, the way he puts his albums together is just very unique, in my opinion.
I mean, I'm cool with just having Kanye crazy ass. I mean, his wife butt naked, like,
yo, Kanye a fool, man, like. Yeah, but
old Kanye, because I'll be honest, like, I love Kanye, but the new Kanye music, like.
But you see, I don't know if Kanye could come back just like that. You know what I mean? Like he could do outrageous things, and that's what sucks about it, because he's revolved around hip hop. You know what I mean? And like he just be doing stupid stuff, and that's what gets people wanting to go get his stuff, I guess. You know what I mean? Versus him actually being
the controversy. Good. So here's the thing. Like, I think I've talked to you about this. Like, when I pause and kind of like Lil Wayne and Future, the thing I've kind of talked to you about is Lil Wayne now isn't the Lil Wayne I remember. You know what I'm saying? So Future has been a little bit more consistent. Of course, he ain't been around as long. I think Future's been more consistent, but Wayne was, he was on top. Yeah, there wasn't nobody close.
When he had his run, he had his run.
I mean, like, if you look at my Spotify last year, no more artists with Future. But I think a lot of our idols, I would say, and that we grew up with, it's hard to see them not really be able to perform to the standard like we remember. Like Lil Wayne, like, we joke like how he rapped and slurring words and he didn't get picked for Super Bowl, which, first off, anybody that is complaining about that, you should have complained back. Was it 2013 when Beyonce did the Super Bowl in Louisiana?
Beyonce was there.
But nobody said that.
Yeah, everybody made a big deal.
And that's when he was hot. So, but
exactly, that's why I said he should feel offended for getting offered at this point in time, because back then he was
on top. But
that's
beside, get back on track. But seeing 50 really ain't in the music anyone. Yeah. I'll even say the only one, and we had this conversation, the only one kind of doing it from back in the day is Nas.
Yeah, where he's actually dropping good product.
Dropping heat. Yeah. Wiz just dropped that new freestyle the other day. Kind of give you the old. I don't know if you got to hear it over Kendrick. Kendrick. Yeah, he freestyled it. Was it yesterday or the day before? Yeah, he dropped a freestyle over Kendrick's beat. And it reminded me of the old Wiz, you know what I'm saying? Rolling Papers Wiz.
You see, that's what everybody goes back to. I go back to 28 grams. Yeah. That's the Wiz that I was like, this. But then again,
Cabin Fever.
Yeah, Cabin Fever 1 and 2. Those were dope. Yeah.
But we don't have any of the people really like Jay-Z. They're not focused on rapping. Yeah. And it's hard. I mean, there's not really. I mean, Kanye tries, but when he's mentally there.
And that was the thing, that hip hop was never meant to be long term. It was to get their foot in the door and get into other businesses and have longevity.
See, but I disagree about that, because people equate okay, well, hip hop is current culture, right? Mm-hmm. But why can't you do it in country? Why can a country, what I'm saying?
That's never ending right there.
You know what I'm saying? But why is that music? Why is the other genre
rock and roll,
R&B? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? You still got Charlie Wilson singing, because there are things you got to adapt. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing Nas did, was he kind of adapted. And I would even say Kendrick Lamar, if you follow him, I mean, other than the whole, he just murdering Drake this last year, but up until then, you look at what was the before Good Kid, Mad City? What was it? It had rigor mortis on it.
That was what, the mixtape?
Yeah.
Section
80.
Yeah, Section 80.
So if you look at that and you've seen him grow, all the way, it's he's been maturing. Even the last album, he's talking about family and stuff like that. You even look at Cole, right? Cole started talking about when he's in college and about women, and he's matured, and then mixing with the new guys and doing different things. Things are gonna change. I think you can do it. I just think that the hard part is once you get older. And I think that's where Cole had that middle child kind of phase. Is man, rap ain't like it used to be. Yeah. You're right, it's not. Neither was rock, right? Elvis Presley and AC/DC and Lamb of God, they're all rock. They all sound different. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Different. But things are going to change. But you're going to have the old school Corday, right? He sounds more old school. He's from Chicago, you know what I'm saying? But people forget we had Common. Common was rapping.
Mos Def.
You had them. And then you still had the Lil Wayne. You still had Master P. You had different things. And so I think you can. I think the problem with a lot of artists in any genre is if you, T.I., for example, and 50, they got out of music and Luda went into movies.
Then they
Ice Cube, he don't rap anymore. He got into movies. Are they bad at what they do? No, they're just passionate about what they're doing now. Yeah. Just like me. I went from poetry. I was very passionate. I drop one once in a while now. But it's the videos, it's the cinematography that I do. So I disagree on that. I think that you can do anything as long as you want to. And that's why Nas is still doing it. Because he's not doing movies. He's not doing other things really. He's into the music. He took a break.
His classic role, Sincere Belly. That's Love that movie. Hype Williams directed that. DMX, man.
Yeah.
That was one of the best movies ever.
And so I think like even Andre 3 Stacks, you know what I'm saying? He's one of my favorites. He's one of my top favorites. But he said he doesn't feel like he can say anything to this young crowd. But how does he know that? Because Nas changed everything up. He's still spitting. But even then, you've heard Nas grow. You know, from Illmatic.
Yeah, that is the only one that's actually really dropping material.
That's older, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't really think. I mean, we could say Lil Wayne. He's dropping 6'6", 25.
Yeah. What do you think about
Carter
that?
6. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not excited.
Yeah, that's what I was like. I'm not.
And here's the thing. I should be, right? Carter 1 came out. That kind of caught us on surprise. Carter 2, my favorite.
Carter 2. That's
is my favorite.
Best, that's the best.
I remember
Carter.
when
That's
it
the
came
best
out.
Carter.
And yeah, that's my opinion is the best.
That's
Carter
the best
3 was
Carter.
still amazing though. You know, people argue 2 and 3. 4 was okay. 4 was okay. Some people like it, some people, but 5, like I don't remember 5. Like I don't remember
5 was
like,
Mona Lisa.
No, I remember that song.
But
how many of the songs?
Yeah, but it wasn't really that memorable.
You know what I'm saying? Like
yeah,
I can go back to Carter 1, Carter 2, Carter 3, and I can say, man, this song, you know what I'm saying? The fly in, the fly out, you know what I'm saying? 3P, you know what I'm saying? That's on 2 different, you know what I'm saying?
Dope
Fireman, Dope Boy,
Mrs.
Mrs. Officer. Like,
Mrs. Officer, Receipt, Get Off, Get Over, that
Money on My Mind.
That song, Get Over, that song, when that song came out or when that album came out, my dad was locked up. And there's a song where he says, like in that song, he says, stay strong, be tough. That's what the preacher tell you. But he can't even feel you. You need a shoulder to lean on, somebody to cry to. It's like everything's gone, but I'm a survivor. Standing on stage in front of millions. Don't amount to me not having my father. That's real talk. I know a lot of y'all got him, but you need him way more when you gotta go without him. And I'm without him. But that's life, dog. Sometimes you gotta learn to swim with no lifeguard. But I'm alright, God. I'm still breathing. But lost hurt like bullets. I'm about to start bleeding. Throw me down some cover because my heart needs them. Damn, bro. When that came out, my dad was locked up, bro. And that was like, yeah, I think that verse, that right there, when that album came out, man, like, and that's what I felt music back then did. Like, I could listen to the Hard Knock Life and it could take me back to a particular like a point in my life where like that album helped me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I still think there are albums like that, but kind of back to the point, like name another song on Carter 5.
I can't. Famous, but then that's the one that's with his daughter, so
Yeah,
that's why
like,
I kind of like that. You dig?
But and so I equated, was Mona Lisa popular because of Lil Wayne or Kendrick?
Because of Kendrick, and
You know
that
what
was the whole thing because it was with Kendrick.
So you went through a whole album and we don't really remember it, and
Yeah.
so don't get me wrong, everything's like, man, I hope it is, and am I going to listen to it? Absolutely.
Yeah.
There would be only a few people, and we kind of talk about this, like, if these people's album drop at the same time, they may get a listen first. But one thing I'm kind of interested in is to see if he drops any disses toward Kendrick or even Drake. Because the whole Drake thing's kind of, you know, DJ Khaled talking about he's going to have Drake on there. So you know what? I want to see.
And then Drake dodged that. Did you see that?
Yeah,
like,
he said Drake Bell or
yeah,
something.
said it must be Drake Bell or something. I honestly, man, I've said it from the beginning. Like, Drake does not want to stand next to Wayne because no matter how big Drake is, pause, when he's next to Wayne, he's not that. And no matter what arena it is. And that's just him not wanting, like, it's like Lil Wayne can stand next to Jay-Z. He accepts that. He accepts who Jay-Z is. Because same thing, like, you put Jay-Z and Lil Wayne together, Jay's going to always just because Jay-Z's older, just because he's been in it longer, he'll get that outshine. But you put Drake next to Wayne, Wayne has done a lot more, in my opinion, than what Drake had did.
See, I disagree. First off, I think Wayne has more shine than Jay-Z. Like, I think Wayne was bigger than Jay-Z at one point than Jay-Z's ever been. I think he's bigger than Jay-Z is. So peak Jay-Z and peak Wayne, I don't think it's close, right? And then
I'm not a Wayne hater, so please don't think.
No, he's not.
I'm not a Wayne hater.
He just loves Jay-Z.
Pause.
He just I love Nas, right? I think Nas is a better rapper than Lil Wayne, but I think Lil Wayne is way bigger than Nas. If you really know hip hop, you know Nas.
Yeah.
If you don't really know hip hop, you still know Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
If I had to take the average person today, 25 to about 40, I guarantee more people know Lil Wayne than Jay-Z. It's not saying people don't know Jay-Z, but I think more people would know a Lil Wayne song than they will know a Jay-Z song. So I don't think they outshine each other. I think they're on equal levels. Jay-Z, I think more people know Jay-Z because of Beyonce. I'm going to be real with you.
Now, at this point.
I think you're like, the Beehive is like, oh. With Drake, I think it depends on the generation. I'm going to be real with you. Like, our generation, like, if you're going to ask me Wayne or Drake, but if you ask the new kids, that's like saying, like, who's better, Steph Curry or,
LeBron?
Ray Allen.
Yeah.
Ray Allen was nice.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
We
saw Ray Allen.
Yeah.
But for them, it's like, it's not close. You know what I'm saying? Like, 3-point. Like, you know what? Hold up. 3-point.
Yeah.
Ray was nice. You know what I'm saying? Walter Ray Allen. You know what I'm saying?
The other day, I was in the conference room, and the homie Tay, he's like, so do you think Drake should retire? And, like, I told him, like, I don't want to count him out. I just think a lot of, like, it's like taking back to the Pusha T era when he went against Pusha T. He was like, and then there was an interview, I think, with Rap Radar, and he's like, oh, man, I felt Pusha T should have not said that. And Pusha T was talking about his producer. And he wanted to change the rules. And that's what I don't like about Drake. Like, he loses and he wants to change rules. Because so that happens. Then fast forward to did he beef with?
So he's the Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, there you go. Yes. Like, he's too good to be, like, doing that. If he were to take his L, then he takes his L, and people could say, okay, he took an L.
Yeah.
Because 50 took an L when he went up against Ross. It wasn't really about the music, you know what I mean? Like, it was, but then it wasn't. So there's great ones that have taken losses, like even with Meek Mill. Like, I'm not a fan of Meek Mill. I think he's a clown, a lot of stuff he does. I'm never really gravitated to his music like that. But when Drake did what he did to him, you didn't see him going into the lawsuit era. You know what I mean? And
I do think the whole lawsuit thing is kind of like, people are like, oh, that's his money. But also, you're not in the industry like where that's cool. And I equate the lawsuit to be like, where we come from, you street or you not, right?
Yeah.
Like, you could be associated with street, but like, if I'm not living that street life, you're not really caring if I follow those rules. But if I say I'm living this street life, like, I ain't, I'm not gonna sue. That's like snitching, right? You know what I'm saying? So I equate that type of music, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, and you don't got a metal rock band like out here painting, toenails being petting kittens. Like, they probably do, but the image, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
I got you.
I went into metal rock. I wasn't Taylor Swift. I wasn't doing that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel you.
I think,
and it just kind of sucks because, like, this dude, he does have a lot of people that follow him. He's still an icon. He still has his status. You know what I mean? But it's just making him at the end look like, oh, well, it's kind of petty. You're doing this, like, and ultimately, and this is what I was telling Tane, you know what, even somebody broke this down, but when he dropped Taylor Made, he used Tupac's voice to say, hey, why don't you talk about this? Which was young girls. So he was over here saying that he fed information to Kendrick. So if Kendrick used it, why is he getting offended about it? You know what I mean? Like he had said this on that.
I think we know. So the crazy part is, I was watching who was interviewing that said Kendrick, like, you don't rap against Kendrick. He is sociopath.
Kanye.
Yeah, Kanye.
Yeah, he that recent interview with Kanye.
Yeah. So I was like, that's crazy because like Kanye, he ain't really. He's like, he crazy. Don't get me wrong. But he's more like the 50 type. Like, he ain't backing down for nobody.
Yeah.
He gonna say what is on his mind. He don't care. He petty. But there's a lot of people that don't want to go against Kendrick. So you have to respect that. Like, but the fact, I don't know what happened in the background, but I guess you always can't feel like you're untouchable. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, you got to humble yourself. And when we had this discussion, like, I was like, man, he lost.
Yeah.
Like, it is what it is. I said he needs to just step away. Just step away for a little bit, just like Meek Mill did. Right?
Yeah.
Meek Mill stepped away for a little bit, and
like
he came back.
He got like that.
Yeah.
Like he stepped away.
Say what you want, but he stepped away for a little bit. I think sometimes just taking a step back and just taking a breath. Like, we don't. Muhammad Ali, right? He's one of the best ever. Was he perfect or did he lose?
No, I think he lost.
He lost, right? Yeah. You take a step back, you take your L, and you keep going. That doesn't make you not great. And I think the problem is, I think Kendrick got in his head, and now, I mean, supposedly he's dropping an album. We'll see how that goes. I'm never gonna count, Drake out. He's talented. That really.
That's why I said I don't want to count
you
him
can't,
out.
I'm not gonna act like I never liked Drake. You asked me, and I was like, "Well, Kendrick won." Like, that's just as simple as that. Like,
that's what it really comes down to.
What I'm saying? And people, it's like a boxing match. I'm gonna equate it back to boxing. Like, sometimes it's a knockout, and sometimes it's up to a decision. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could look at the Pusha T and Drake one, and you're like, that might be up to a decision. This was a knockout. Like, Drake was on the ground. Like, the 10 count passed. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, it was one.
Sometimes you gotta take your L, go back, train. You know what I'm saying? But it's a lot of weird stuff, and you get into that more than I do. But there's a lot of weird stuff in the background because Lil Wayne ain't really like supporting him like that.
And nobody's supporting
him. So I don't know what he did. That's on him. That's on everybody else. But
nah. Well, I really appreciate this, brother. Thank you so much for letting me come in your domain and interview you, getting to know you a little bit more. And